Merry meet! So this is a new camera angle, isn't it? So I got asked to talk about creating like an altar on a budget, so I have found kind of the very basics for any altar, so I figured we would just put it together. So the first thing is your altar cloths, and this is just a bandana. So it comes in like a pretty decent size, and you can find these anywhere, and they're really not expensive. I got this for about $1.79 or so at like a farm kind of store, but you can find these everywhere. Dollar stores, I think, carry them. Walmart, Target, pretty much everywhere in the world, I think, sells bandanas. And they always generally, I think, come in a square, so then you just lay out your square. Alright, so you've got your altar cloth, and you can put your altar on anything, your nightstand, your dresser, coffee table. Somewhere around your house you will have a table. Then the next thing is your elemental, like, representations. So you can obviously just use your tools, which is pretty much what I brought. So a wand, and you can just find a stick anywhere really, and just kind of sand it down, like I have done with this, and put it in the east, so that's this direction for me. And if you wanted, you could also put like a bird feather, like a found one. Obviously don't rip a feather out of a bird, that's pretty rude. So you can find feathers and other things that represent air for you and put it on the east side, or you can do masculine and feminine and organize that way. But for now, we're just elemental directions. So then next is a candle for fire. And so I found this one. It is Rustic Woods by Better Homes and Gardens. And you can get these this size. They're usually filled up to there. I've been obviously using mine. And you can get these at, I got mine at Walmart, and they're about $5. They always have a clearance section of this size, really cheap. So you can get these bigger candles and they last forever. This company, they actually do a really good job. The scent, like you can smell it around the house, instead of some where it smells nice but then you burn it and it doesn't really put off the smell. So put your candle, you know, in the south. And for fire, you can also put a knife. Now, you generally will want to have your fancy smanchy athames, but if you're on a budget, just take one of your butter knives and dedicate it to your practice, and don't use it in ritual and then go and cut butter with it. So have your knife or your athame, whatever you want to call it, just in the south as well, or whatever direction suits you best. For your cauldron, they can get ridiculously expensive, and I'm just gonna move this candle up here so I don't like catch myself on fire. But cauldrons can be really expensive. I paid about $25 for my, I guess it's a medium size. You've seen my cauldron, it's about this big. And it has the pentacle on the front, and I paid, I think, about $25 for that. And cauldrons can be really expensive, so if you don't have that kind of money, you can do something like this. So I actually got this bowl gifted to me, but I think it was only maybe $5 or so. I'm sure you can find similar bowls at the dollar store, but it's just a glass bowl, and I have poured salt in here, and it's a mess, I know. But you put salt or sand into it, and put a decent amount. As you can kind of see, I filled it quite a ways. And then you can burn your incense in here, and it like will catch the ashes and just add to it. And then you can put your charcoal discs and put incense in here, which is the main use for my cauldron. So you can do this, and it's really cheap to do. Now, also for water, your chalice. I got this at a dollar store, and it's glass, and it works great. So if you want to have this as your chalice or your offering thing to put like some water or wine or juice or whatever, you can put it in here. And yeah, really cheap, and it's great quality anyways. Do be warned though, when you are looking for your chalice, for the metal ones, because I bought one and I think it was a like bronze metal or something, I don't really know, but I had a drink in it and it tasted like metal, So I always recommend for you to consume the liquid, always stick with like a glass or even plastic if you need, but something that you know you can get clean and it's not going to like hurt you by having a metal taste. So I just always recommend glass. So then next is for earth, and I just recommend you go out and find some things from earth. So like this is a pine cone, and I found it in a cemetery on Samhain, I think 2 years ago. And I got a whole bunch of them. They were just scattered everywhere. So I just harvested them. The squirrels were getting all the nuts out of these, and so they were just everywhere. And so I harvested some of these, and you can put other sticks like your wand, even not sanded. And you can put fresh flowers. Obviously, if you go out and harvest flowers, make sure you give an offering of at least water, because it's a nice thought to give like cornmeal, but the plant would probably prefer water to deal with the loss of the flower because it is part of a living organism. But if you can find fallen things such as pine cones, that's really great. So then you have a representation for earth. Now some people might include found animal bones, but you want to make sure that they're sanitary and you don't like get a disease from it. Obviously, I would recommend you don't kill an animal to have a bone. Some people would prefer not to use any animal parts in their practice, but some do. And so you could use like a deer antler. You could also use that as a god representation, because most of the time they are fallen. Deer lose their horns every year, so it's not really harming the animal, but that is entirely up to you. So it just depends on your practice, but you could also include that here for earth. So then for spirit, I always just use another candle. And so you can also get these other types. I don't know if you can really see it. It is Autumn Hayride. Smells amazing. We're getting into the season of Mabon now. And so this I found on clearance at Kohl's. I don't know if they're everywhere, but they have really good deals in the back of the store. At least at mine, they have like a whole section of just clearance, and so I always get candles there. So I paid like $1 for this. But again, candles you can find pretty cheap anywhere, and then if you go after the season and just stock up for next year, you can get like the Halloween and Samhain themed Christmas, Yule seasoned, etc. So then have that. And then for the god and the goddess representations, as well as ancestors, you can just use found stones. This is one I just found in my yard. Really simple. It's got an interesting color to it that I don't really think you can tell because my camera's gonna be dying any second now. But you can use this, or for a figure you can also make your own. I made this out of clay, and it was air drying clay. It came in a big package about this big, about that thick, and I was able to create so many things out of this clay, and it was air dry clay, which is a lot cheaper. I found mine at Walmart. But you can also get baking clay, and it's about $14, $15 for I think a pound of it. But you can make your own statues. Again, I probably have at some point shown you some of the ones I've made. So that's just an idea. You can also make your tools out of this too if you would like, and then you just set it on your altar, and that's pretty much it. And then lastly is your Book of Shadows. So a lot of places will have really expensive books of shadows, and this is one that I believe I talked about years ago as a discrete book of shadows, but it's also a cheap one. So this is just one of the back to school items that they had a few years ago, and it just has a little snap in the front. You open it, and it's a small 3-ring binder with little note cards. So it also has little dividers in the one that I got, and it has a little pocket in the front. I don't think it doesn't have one in the back, but then you can just open this and rearrange your papers. This would be a really cheap and easy, small, simple book of shadows if you're first starting off. You don't want to spend a lot of money. I think I paid maybe $4 for this, if that. And it's really easy, and then there you go. So that is the altar. Hopefully you enjoyed seeing this really simple and very cheap way to create an altar, especially if you are on a budget and you don't have a lot of money to spend. I don't think this would cost you very much to create, And so if you liked this video, please click the like button and comment below if you have done an altar similar to this, or if you have some ideas of other things you could include on here. And until my next video, thank you for watching. Please, another video idea. That was great. Glad you had this idea. And until my next video, blessed be.